Hello and welcome into the Sorare Data Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Going solo today because I will not be around on Friday. That's just, I'm not even going to bury the lead here. There will be no show on Friday. There'll be no shows on Monday. It's going to be a 4-day weekend for me. And I wish I could say I was doing something really relaxing and enjoying the summer, but I'm not. But I won't be here. So now that that's out of the way, thank you to everybody for coming in. Who do we got here? Alex comes first win in the Sorare Data live chat. So it's SD, Sorare Data. SRD kind of implies that it's 3 words, and Sorare is only 1 word. And data is 1 word. We combine them to make 1 word, but SD. So yeah, just for future reference. Sir Juju, what's up? And Philly Dilly on the podium. Congratulations to the 3 of you. Gavin, just short. But Gavin's been pretty active here, so thanks for coming in. Now we have SC, CR7, something, but hello. And hello, future you, or maybe past you at this point. I'm not quite sure. Ian, what's up? Finally finished an Alanya Spore stack yesterday. That's just so rare right there. Way to be. Jamie won 300 pounds on Prem in season. Wow, that's a lot of money. Do I use it to buy a rare Hyungmin Sun? Yes. To complete the 2023-24 collection? Oh, of course. Or hold to start the new season collection. Buy the card now. We always want the cards now. Maybe someone else will get it. Who knows? I was talking to somebody about that the other day. I think it was Harry, actually, where it's like you get an idea in your head and you're like, I got to do this right now. Because this idea that I had that I didn't have 2 minutes ago, surely somebody else has this idea and they're looking at the exact same card I am and I have to get it before them. ZM Star, what's up? Are we talking consolidation of gallery or leagues? Yes, is the answer. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. Looking for food, what's up? Stefan, thanks for coming in. Looking for food said, I assume it's expanding galleries, not upwards, but sideways. We'll see. Johannaton, what's up? Shaforkel, way to be. Rikomon, no shows what I meant to do. So there'll be 2 shows tomorrow. There will be the game week preview with Harry and then Sorare Andrews. And Monday, I'm going to try to convince Harry to do a show. I don't know. I think it'll probably be on his channel because it's just easier for him to do it that way. But really, let's put the pressure on Harry to do a show on Monday. I'll be back Tuesday, at least back working Tuesday. Malky, hello. Thank you. Kai, have a good day. So I'm literally leaving. I don't know how prevalent this is in other countries, but I'm going. It's Memorial Day weekend here in the US, and my children have a football tournament like 200 miles away. So I'm going there. I have to stay in a hotel, which sounds great, except I have 3 kids and a wife and 5 people in 1 hotel room. And it's going to be a mess. And so when I come back on Tuesday, I may look 10 years older because this weekends like this just age me. But I love watching my kids play football, so maybe that'll make up for it. Anyway, another Ian, what's this? AT Sports 69 chose this show over Dune 2. Way to be. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. ZM Star, shout out to having Deke on. Need more of him on the show. I agree. I had a lot of fun with Deke yesterday talking about it. And whenever I bring someone new on, I tend to get comments, not even just from people who are normally here, but it's fun to get new people on the show. And people are like, wow, that was really great. And it's really nice when I feel that way also, because it's the worst is finish a show and I'm like, wow, I think that was really good. And there's just crickets. But yeah, Deke's great. And hopefully we'll have him back. Apparently Dune 2 is rubbish. So hopefully this isn't. Ben Johnson, what's up? Johannaton, get a second hotel room with a connection door. It's less about the space in the hotel room, which it is part of that. But it's just, that also doubles the cost, at least of the hotel room. Yeah, the joys of travel sports. We'll see. Agent Cooper, anyone else wishing they could hoover up some of these ridiculously cheap European rare cards, but haven't won enough ETH in recent game weeks to make it happen? So Agent Cooper, we're going to talk about that because I've been doing this and I don't think it's a good idea for everybody. It might not be a good idea for me. So we'll see. Tom, hello. What's up? Vice said Dune 2 is not rubbish. I don't watch movies really. So but I believe you guys one way or the other. Bob Franklin will catch him on the show later off to see my son's match. See, there we go. Let's go. Good dad. And Brones, what's up? Good evening to you as well. So what did I say we were talking about? What did I call this? Expanding consolidation. So on last Friday's show, where I rambled to myself, Sorare Juju, I bought the rare Frankfurt collection recently. That's fun. Yeah. ZM Star said, I imagine you only watch Big Green and Ladybugs. I don't even get that far. Little Giants, though, is a great one. And we referenced Mighty Ducks yesterday, but I haven't seen that one in a while. But anyway. So last Friday's topic was all about how much time we take playing Sorare. And then MPen came out with a really long article that took up a lot of my time to read. But it was great. So it's worth the time. And then there were some memes about it, which was even better, including one making fun of me, which I appreciated. Actually appreciated. It wasn't like offended. But it started me thinking just about my own gallery. And you guys, people who are regularly here, no, I don't love talking about my own gallery. Part of which is because I think it's just really boring hearing people talk about their galleries. And so I don't think you guys want to hear about my galleries, but I do want to talk about kind of the process that I went through or I'm going through. And I'm hoping that there's somebody in the chat that is just like, this is why your idea is really bad. Because I'm kind of going through with what I think is a good idea, but I think it's a good idea for my life and maybe not for my peak Sorare ROI. And so that's what we're going to get into today. But the demise of Plays Harper is really what has started the idea that maybe we either don't spend enough time on our lineups and our gallery, or we're spending too much time, and that was kind of a way for us to not spend as much time, but maybe it actually was more detrimental than helpful. And that's sort of where my mind has been going recently. Brown said, the more time I need on lineup research and input, the less time I find myself scouting, rebuilding, or expanding my gallery. So that is exactly where I'm going with this. And Braden, hello. So obviously we have a finite amount of time that we can spend on Sorare. And for some people, it's an hour a week. Some people, it's 40 hours a week. Literally, people are sitting at their job, but Sorare data is on their screen, and that's what they do at work. And then for the 17 minutes they actually have to do work during their work day, they're like, oh yeah, let me do that. And then they go back to Sorare data. And when you have a smaller gallery, most of the time you are spent looking at cards to acquire. It's usually not, is this guy going to play this week? Because when you only have a few cards, that's the easy part. Are these 12 guys going to start this week? Yes. Okay. Who are the 10 best to put in my 2 lineups? That's easy. And so what you spend your Sorare time on after that is considering if you want to improve on those 12 cards you have. Do you want to expand to other competitions? And if you do, then you sort of research, who are the best players in that competition? Who are players who score similarly? And there's just a whole rabbit hole of scouting that you can go down. Rabbit holes you can go down. So that is a really fun part of the game. And Gator Guy and I have talked about this previously, that card acquisition is our favorite part of the game. And we do it very differently. I try to do trades, card trades, much more than he does. And he's willing to sell cards at losses if he bought them for a specific reason. And I tend not to do that. But it's the non-lineup stuff and the non-result stuff that is actually the most fun. I found this one guy who I think is really good. Maybe how much does he cost? Is that a good, and it's just like, those are the types of things that really get you into Sorare. Like that's what like totally hooks you in. And you're just like, you're not just like scouting new players. You're like scouting new leagues. And then you have to analyze the market. Is the price that this player is going for actually comparable to players who score like him? Or is he way too cheap? And can I get similar scores from this player than I could this other one for a fraction of the cost? And like, that's kind of what the whole game is about. And the more that we do that, and the more cards that we acquire, we then have more time. We now have to dedicate more time to making sure that those cards will be playable in lineups. And you start to move kind of the it's not really the pendulum because it doesn't really go back and forth, but you're kind of like moving the needle away from the fun stuff, which is like the scouting and the market analysis, which God, we are such nerds, but towards more, is this guy going to play? And the more players that you have, the more like Google searches you have to do. Is this player okay? Did they get through the last game okay? And that's part of the reason why people rely on stacks and collections, or it's one of the reasons, because it's just easier. Oh, let me just research one team. And Nanzo was actually one, and this was a while ago. I don't think he feels any differently today, but the line was something like, do you want to, what was it about stacking? It was like, do you want it to be easy or do you want to win? And I think we're getting to the point now. I'm getting to the point where expanding the number of players I have to check on each week is actually becoming a detriment to my gallery. And so what I think I'm going to start doing is reducing the number of players that I own, player card, but not necessarily reducing the number of cards I own, but just reducing the number of players. So, and I've talked about this before, the kind of having multiple copies of the same player, because then I can basically do research for one player that covers 3 cards. And I don't think this works for every player. I don't think it works for every Sorare manager, but I think it's something that I need to start doing. And my gallery, I don't play every competition, and I really don't plan to. I barely play champion. If I started today, well, I was gonna say if I started today, I probably would play champion, but like I have a Ren collection. I would never do that now, knowing that I can only play it in champion. And so, but like that's easy now. So like champion's just taken care of. And I think I'm getting to the point where, because there's so many competitions, and because now my time needle is now much closer to lineups and DNP checks than what do I want to get on the market, or what players do I want to try to find. And I want to go back. I have fun with that part. So I want to like try to figure out going back to that fun part. Sorry, let's I fell off on the chat here. Whoops, hold on. Instant Zen. Laird, could you explain to us newbies what happens in off season and why when to get cards for next season? All right, so this off season, like the Euro off season, like everybody keeps saying like, oh yeah, it's the off season, but like MLS, J League, K League, Norway, like everybody, they keep playing. Brazil, Argentina, Liga MX will be back. Well, actually not that soon, but traditionally what happened is people would sell cards from like the European leagues to buy cards from the summer leagues. Not everybody did this, but you would just see this kind of dip of Euro cards at the end of the season, not because of the in-season classic stuff, but mostly because people are like, I want out of my Euro cards to get into some whatever, Japan, Korea, America, and just keep playing because the game is fun, and like taking 2.5, 3 months off just isn't that fun. But this year, who knows? Like we are experiencing this drop off for the first time, where we know that in-season cards, which now the European ones are, I mean, we have like a handful of leagues that still have like 1 or 2 games left. I guess Ligue 2 and Segunda Division in Spain have some more. But basically, like, and most Euro cards you win now are going to be classic cards immediately. And so I think what we're seeing now is kind of a convergence of in-season and classic card prices, because basically new season cards have been much more expensive because you can play in-season competitions. But now that those are basically gone, and that they announced that the Euros and the Copa America competitions will not require new season cards, I think basically everything is classic now for most of the European leagues. And so the unfortunate answer is I have no idea what's going to happen. But essentially this is like the down part of the European cycle. Like, this is the least amount of utility you will get from your cards. And so because card values reflect utility so much, the European card prices are going to go down. Goose said, as a Challenger EU player, hoovering up Challenger cards doesn't work as well because the Challenger EU greats will likely make a transfer this window. So this is a great point. And there are a number of people who like to play the whole like transfer thing, and I give Andy a hard time about this, Andy Black, because he has a PSV stack and I don't, and I compete in Challengers and I can't wait till it's broken up. But I kind of joke like, oh yeah, your Joey Veerman and your Olivier Biscaglia cards will now be champion cards when they go play at Bournemouth or somewhere and Brentford. And now I don't have to deal with them in Challengers, but also like they're not nearly as good in a league like that. Probably not, I'll say. And so, there is some, there's almost a little, no, not almost, there is more work to do if you're looking to acquire challenge or even contenders, but mostly challenger cards, because they can get moves to champion clubs. And then if you have like a challenger, if you're challengers and now you have a couple champion cards, it's like, well, now do you want to play champions or do you want to get out? And so we'll see. NFTM says, I'm building a champion limited gallery right now, spending a shit ton of time to make choices on who to buy. So that's a good use of time. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, who knows? But like, that's the sort of stuff that I like to spend time on, is like looking for players that I may want to acquire, and less, are they going to play this week? Agent Cooper, everyone's galleries are interesting in a way. How many Sorare managers have a bunch of Scandi cult legends, River Plate defensive stacks, and ex-Ren players from 3 years ago? Yeah, exactly. Everybody should. AT Sports 69, Bradley Danger, it might be my favorite card ever. See that, and like, you would never know who that guy is without Sorare. Johanneton said, for me, it's not the buying, it's the planning and having a new strategy for a specific game week, mostly internationals. Yeah, but Johanneton's like a international game week shark. ZM Star Reynoso may have some life in Contenders Leagues Cup. Yeah, so like that's actually a very good example. That I was talking with somebody today who I may do a game week preview show with twice a week, and who bought an Emmanuel Reynoso super rare earlier this year. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm actually more interested in that card because it's now a Contenders card. For those who don't know, Reynoso is transferring to Tijuana in Liga MX, which is a Contenders, out of Challengers. And I was like, my Challenger super rare are not that good in terms of summer. And so it's actually more interesting to me, but I'm not sure I'm actually buying it. Gia says, buying shiny things and dreaming of success is pleasant. It's just human nature. Researching and calculating is working. Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to consider working. Abrico said, managing a smaller gallery could definitely be a better Sorare experience. I mean, it just depends on how you like playing Sorare and like how much time you want to and can dedicate to it. Because there are plenty of people who would love to spend much more time on Sorare than they do, and they just can't because it's real life gets in the way. And there are people who spend way too much, what they consider way too much time on Sorare. And I'm not saying that I think I'm spending too much time on it. I'm obviously I'm in a very weird situation where I play Sorare and it's my job. Playing Sorare is not necessarily my job. So I don't use Sorare to escape my job. But I realize I'm literally like one of 15 people who are like that. So Sorare Siegel said Sorare data looks a lot like work data on a second screen. Yeah. Maybe we'll put in some more tables or anything so people can look at make it look like they're working. AT Sports said, in theory, buying multiples of a card makes the price go up, just like Bitcoin. Yeah, these cards are just like Bitcoin. You just need that NFT ETF to get approved. Malky said, I feel like I want to move away from buying teams and just buy players. Even on the teams I support, there are players I don't like, so why should I buy them? So I actually, that's actually not quite what I meant, because I just buy players. Mostly I just buy players. And it's not necessarily a team reason that I'm buying them. Cooper said, I think that's a sound plan. The obvious flaw of having multiple cards of fewer players is season-ending injuries. But if you get lucky, no ACL injuries, for example, you could be on to a winner. So, I mean, like I have an Adon super rare and Adon rare that I've had for a long time. And before I even thought like maybe I should have multiple cards of different players. And like he's been gone for a while. Like I've dealt with that. It's awful. Like dealing with injuries like that. And like I realized that this idea is a riskier plan for sure. I think the benefit, benefit is not the right word. I think what my plan is not necessarily to have a super, like we call it efficient, but like a really thin gallery. Like I think I still want to have depth, and I still want to be able to truly put out like the best lineups that I can. But if there's like one player, I'm like, this is his, or 5 guys, and I'm like, they all have good matchups this week. And sometimes they may be teammates. But I'm like, if they have a good matchup this week, then like I want them in the lineup, and I want multiple. And I mean, if someone gets hurt, someone gets hurt. Like it happens. And saying like, oh, if you have multiple of the same guy, then like I'm hurt in all of the spots, like totally. But I tend not to focus on injuries too much in terms of like downside risk, unless it's somebody who's like chronically injured. But like I don't ever look at a card and just think like, oh, when is he going to get hurt? If they're a player who tends not to. Braden said, my Segunda centered gallery is about to pop off just like during international breaks. Yeah, it's a great time for it. Ben said, why do we not have the Euros fixtures on Sorare yet? I don't know. Do we not? We're like in the lineup builder. Let's see. Do we go? Oh, we go through the Euros. I don't know where they are. Yeah, I don't know. I'll look into it. Malky said, it might be detrimental because collection bonus will not be as high just buying an assortment of players, but at least you will be invested in tracking them. So I know this sounds really weird, but I think that collection bonuses are much more helpful when you play stacks. And they're certainly helpful if you play stacks against other people. And if you have like a higher collection score, that's great. But like my hope is that you're playing 5 guys from one team and I just happen to have 5 guys who score more. Regardless of bonus, like you getting 13% on 60 points is not as good as my guy just scoring 90. But I mean, I make that sound like very easy, but it's not. Andre said in season has 5% edge for EM. So they're still a bit better and it's easier to get collection bonus. Yeah, like again, I do think that there are people who make suboptimal lineups because of bonuses. And they should continue to do that so that we can benefit from that. But I think that there really are like, oh, these 2 guys play on the same team and I have this collection. And so I'm going to put them together. And when you go, you review your game week and you're like, oh man, I should have played this other guy. It's like, you should have known that beforehand. Juju said, it is at least utility and the supply is still high because they're still doing auctions, which might decrease in a few weeks. So it could be a best time to buy classic cards right now. I don't think that we need to try to figure out if it's like the best time to buy cards. Like if you want a card, just go get it. And if you want to wait, that's fine. But like trying to like make sure you get the cheapest price. Like once it's in, and we will just deal with the rest later. Malky said people don't like scrolling through their useless collection players when building lineups. Maybe they should just get rid and focus on a core group of active players. See, the weird thing is I'm also doing both basically right now. And I don't know, like I'm building collections while also trying to slim my gallery. But again, like I'm thinking of it more like if I have a player I really like and I think it's beneficial to build a collection around him, I'm still really only considering that one card. I realize that's kind of like that sounds counter to what I'm trying to say of like consolidating the number of players I own, but it's really consolidating the number of players that I know I will play in lineups, and everything else is just benefiting those players. And so I would rather buy like 3 Messis, for example, than like 1 Messi, 1 Cucho, and 1 whoever else, although he's hurt, so who knows. Insin Zen pointing out that this chat is all 69 or so rare screen names, which, yeah, welcome to Sorare. Ben, Tijuana stink, but maybe they're different with him. And frankly, nobody cares if they win or lose, except Harry. Harry's one of these people who's like, no, this guy's really good in real life. I'm like, so what? He's like, no, they're going to win. Who cares? I'm not here for winning. Michael said, since we've been talking and writing about time the last few days, I haven't been able to get Cyndi Lauper out of my head time after time. Thank you for getting it in my head. Shout out Cyndi Lauper. Andre, do you think cards are valued in dollars or ETH? If ETH goes up, will card prices go up long-term as well? So card prices are absolutely more valued in dollars in terms of limited and rare, for sure. Super rare, it's kind of hit or miss, and unique, I really have no idea. But yeah, like when ETH goes up, then you're going to have to, you pay less for cards if you're in ETH. But I think that we made kind of a transition from mostly focusing on ETH to mostly in fiat a while ago. And I don't see it ever going back. People always, and even when we were an ETH only platform, people still actually valued in fiat. Like there are plenty of people who didn't, but like when ETH went up or down big overnight, people would like complain like, oh man, my card isn't worth as much anymore. Or like I got less dollars for my card because of the ETH movement. And it's like, well, it's ETH. Like the ETH price didn't really change. So Goose said you could limit the number of clubs you own players from to make DMP checking easier. I think having more cards of the same player is not the ideal way to win. You can't put 2 Rodris in one lineup. So yeah, I don't plan on playing 2 Rodris in one lineup. I plan on playing 2 Rodris in 2 lineups. But that's actually a bad example because I would never buy Rodri. But only because I don't play champion. I don't want to have to pay for Rodri. I also prefer more lineups. Like I'm not trying to just make 4 lineups every week. Like I want as many possible lineups. I just want to do it with as few players as possible. ZM Star, I meant to ask, is that a SodaStream you're drinking? Yes, it is. If SodaStream would like to, SodaStream would like to sponsor this podcast instead of Ridge Wallet or Duolingo, we're here. We're here. So Gavin said River Plate disaster last night, which is funny because I had the exact opposite reaction. River Plate crashed out of their cup last night, and I was thrilled. Paulo Diaz didn't play, or at least he didn't start, and they lost. So now they don't have another midweek match that they have to deal with. That's like the selfish, so rare manager that, like, as much as I like want to see River Plate succeed, could not care less that they lost in the cup. But you bought into a Rosario Central collection, I see. Do you actually like all the players you bought, or was it buying a team? It was not Rosario. It was Racing. And, oh, you corrected yourself. So I really like Juan Quintero. Sorry, there we go. And I like Almendra. And then I was like, oh, I can pick up like a few cheaper pieces of this collection. To be honest, Surfula was a bit in my ear. He was not encouraging me to do this at all. but he did kind of point out that, well, Racing are also very good right now, but they have a number of like very young players who could become very good. And I'm much more interested in buying a collection and buying pieces to help my Juan Quintero and my Agustin Almendra cards than that could potentially be something in the future. And if these guys are very good, I mean, they're literally like 20, 19 years old. And if they turn into something down the road and I got their rare card for $5, $6, like I think that's cool. Sorare C's goal, you've stumbled across my Brighton strategy. Average squad age is bigger than selling club, means players move, all cards 10 to 50. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Sorare Seagull said, over time, I plan to have a whole gallery covering multiple leagues and regions, all wearing Brighton kits on cards. So like, that's sort of my idea with the Ren collection. Yeah, I love that. Red or Dead checking in, another one with the 69 on their name. KB97, Cruz for $5 was a crime. I can guarantee he can make you more than that, and people seemed to realize quickly. I mean, he's retiring, so what is? Do you know that you can win more than $5 with Tony Cruz? What is he? Oh wait, I didn't share this. Sorry, guys. I do see that it hit a bottom, limited at least, and then came back a little bit. Here we go. So yeah, so somebody bought his limited card for $46 the other day, and the next day he announced his retirement. Man, that is bad luck. But yeah, got down to $4.93. $4.90. I had a Tony Cruz limited once. It's a fun card. And then it came back. Now we're in the $10 range. I mean, it's a collectible, I guess. And since any reason why I can only find Rosenborg cards, the league is legit and has a lot of good players. It's the only team they have a license with right now. Frankly, I hope it stays that way, and I hope they don't add any more Denmark cards. But again, that's super selfish of me. Gavin said, I wish I got Hyde players in my club in the lineup builder. We've had that, and part of the like pick score should take care of that, but people don't like that anyway. Yeah, KB said the same thing. So KB, there's I'll just show it to you. You can take your commons out. If you go to this upper part here, you click on your name, settings and membership. And if you go to display preferences, and then down here, hide common draft cards, I hide my custom series as well. Actually, I just hide both. And that should take them out everywhere, including the app. You may have to like close the app out, but it should be there. Ben said Reynoso is the next Gorriarán, in my opinion, which I assume is an insult. Oh shit, Harry's here. Goose said, I got third in Challenger in-season D1 with 508.78 points using players with 4 or 5% collection bonuses. I think it's really tough to hit 500 points without collection bonus. I don't know how. I mean, I think everything helps, sure. But I think it's less about whether the extra point, whether the bonus helps, and more whether you are actually choosing players because you think that they're best scorers, or do they have the biggest bonus? And you need to have a good score and a good bonus. KB, I'm not starting a Sanfrecce stack. Or, maybe yes, after that outrageous box reward. Yeah, that was outrageous. But frankly, KB, I said this to Surfula in private, but I said, because so there was an issue with the Budo, an Opta issue with that match on Monday, where they didn't score it after the 50th minute, let's say. And I had a player in that lineup. I had a couple players, JPH and Hakan Evyen. And I basically was like, Sorare is going to close the game week before they score that game. And it's not fair, but it's also understandable because Opta didn't do it until today. And I'll say I didn't have the best time with the customer service at Sorare about it, especially being told that the game was scored normally and I shouldn't, and that I was wrong, which I wasn't. And I was like, thankfully, I was kind of jokingly, I was like, thankfully, Sorare will reward me with a star rare and a tier 1 super rare in my box, because those were the upside cards that I could have won if that match had been scored. And then, yeah, I got that Osaka. So, Red or Dead said, I have 69 in my name because that's the year I was born, which that's fair. I wasn't calling you out. Someone else was calling out. Juju said, I sold him luckily today for 22 euros because I saw his post 5 minutes after it was online. Yesterday, right? Wasn't that yesterday they announced it? Yeah. Let's see. Pedro, stop bidding on my Racing players. I can't. Although I might stop for a while now. To be honest, that Osako card kind of changed priorities for me, I think. Yeah, Pedro, I'll you go nuts. I say that, but if there's something there, I will bid on it. But KB, that the hiding common cards has been around. Yeah, it's quite a long time. Vincent Zen, get your Atalanta Leverkusen rivals lineups in. Official starter just came out. So yeah, just go nuts. KB, yeah, JPH missed out on 4 attempted assists, not actual assists. Yeah. Oh yeah, you corrected. Okay. NFTM. It's way more important to be unique, in my opinion. Play a Bilo, Geertrida, which I don't think you say is like that, Henko with a Dessart or Koita. Not a lot of players with that specific lineup. That's probably more than you have to differentiate, to be honest. Or pick a different captain. Okay. ZM Star Reynoso post was guns and money stacks, I think. Yep. He didn't have the gun. But yeah. It's just like, what are you thinking? Anyway. So yeah. So I'm curious if what the outcome will be to a number of people fully relying on Place Harper for their lineup projections and blaming the experts if they were wrong. And if this little bit of time that we have where people are like, man, I have to do this on my own. And then I think there's actually going to be two things that happen here. One is people may not be as comfortable trusting like one expert. And so like, let me check this projection and this one, which takes up a little time. And then because you're doing that, you have to do that for every card you have. And I don't know if we'll just go back to people being like, no, I subscribe to this site and I just use their lineup projections. And if they say a guy's playing, like I'm playing him and that's it. And that's fine. I mean, you do you. But I do wonder that if there are people who think that they need to do a little more work on their own, if they get to a point where they're just like, man, I'm spending so much time on this. Do I really need to do it with this many players? And one of the thoughts is like, let me just sell a bunch of players because I don't want to do all of this work. But if you're going to do that, why not just buy multiples of the same player? Because again, then you're only doing the work once. Major NFT said they just roll up their sleeves or play leagues or teams they know, sell what you don't know. So the sell what you don't know, though, like discovering new players, and it's not even really discovering it because they're like presenting it to you, but like winning a card of somebody you've never heard of and then looking up and being like, oh, they're pretty good. And then you look into their team and you're like, oh, he takes a share of set pieces. Who else takes set pieces? Is their defensive record any good? Should I get their goalkeeper? Like that's a big part of Sorare, and allowing you to learn more leagues and more footballers. Like that's the humongous benefit of it. Like there are players that all of us who have been here a while, and even those who haven't been here a while, that we just know them. I mean, how many people here know Kikuchi? And he hasn't even played for like a year and a half. But we should know who that is. Like most people don't know who that is. And the number of players that we just know because of what we're involved with, most people don't. Like I said, we're just a bunch of football nerds. But like this, it's like football nerds on steroids. And it's not like you're actively just looking for these random people. It's like, oh, there's this game, and it kind of like leads you in a path of certain players. Then you're like, wow, this guy is really good. And just like nobody starts playing Sorare and plays for even a few months and knows the same amount as they did when they started. Like everyone learns a ton of players. And it's just like such a fun byproduct of this game that you become, you're not necessarily an expert, but then when, some champion Europe team is like, oh yeah, there's this guy from Antwerp. And you're like, I know exactly who that is. And you do. Glenn, any opinion on the new rivals? I came second in Division 1 and I got a limited Hakimi. Nice incentive. First off, congratulations. That sounds awesome. Secondly, I've played like 2 rivals things, and it's just not a game for me. Like they were talking about it. Who was it? Oh, Sora Ramble was talking about it, and I think it was SR Monkey who made the point that because it's weekly, like it's really good. You can stay engaged. Where if it was like a monthly competition, it's like if you miss a few, it's like you got to wait for the whole month. But like weekly, it's like, oh, there's still 3 days left. Like I can keep doing this. The problem is I assume that if you get promoted and then you kind of like blow it off for a few days, or you blow it off for the week, you get relegated. I don't know. So I don't necessarily like, I think it's still like a long form competition. It's just that it's scored weekly, but Rivals reminds me, and I think they're different games, but they have a lot of similarities. Rivals reminds me of DFS. And when I stopped playing DFS, I was much happier, and it really had nothing to do with the money. Oh, not nothing to do, but I got burned out on DFS and lineup building for a single game. Like I get it. I get why people really like it. And I've had like some fun, but it's not like Rivals is not a game that I'm going to be like grinding. I think I'm in Division 7 right now. Like I'll play every so often. Although to be honest, the new gameplay almost makes me not want to just randomly play, because I'll just continue to get like no results. But I don't know. I think it's great. I actually think Rivals is a much bigger onboarding tool than people give it credit for. And we'll just see what happens when it happens. KB Vanetsek walked so Rodri can run. So like exactly that. Exactly that. And I won a Marvin. So yeah, shout out to bringing him up. Hell yeah. Like, yeah, why would you know who that guy is? It also probably makes us think that there are certain guys who are better than they are. Like I remember I have a very good friend who's a New York City FC season ticket holder. And when they signed Thiago Martins, I was like, that guy is legit. Like he is really good, because he was really good in Japan. And he has been absolutely awful for New York City FC. DraftKings DFS gets old real quick. I like this game 100 times more and I'm hooked. They're like traditional Sorare, like not Rivals, is just very different than DFS, but it kind of scratches a similar itch, to use a very weird phrase that probably doesn't make sense. But yeah, it's much better for me. Red or Dead said, I got promoted from Division 3 to Division 4. I think, from 4 to 3, I assume, in 4th, and won 5 tickets in a box. I mean, now you get to play more. Oh, promoted to Division 2. All right. KB said, whenever winning just feels relieving and losing makes you feel worse than winning does, it's not healthy for you. So that is why I stopped playing DFS. Like that is exactly why. Winning was a relief. And it was like, oh, I could just keep playing. I wasn't good enough at DFS to like really make money. I was good enough to keep playing. Like I didn't have to deposit over and over again. I deposited like once, but it was like it was never big enough. And yeah, if I won, it was like, great, here's a bankroll that I'll just piss away for the next 3 weeks, and then I'll win it back. And it's just, yeah. And owning the cards some more. There's just so much more to Sorare than DFS. Like yeah. In DFS, people just put 150 lineups in of every combo of players. It's stupid. So that's not true. Like you can't possibly put in every combo with 150 lineup. Like it's not remotely close, but is what it is. So somebody, sorry, of what I was actually talking about here. So what about expanding your gallery, go wider or move up? So it's not, I'm not, actually, I don't want to say I'm not expanding my gallery because I'm like actively adding in-season contender cards to play in season during the summer. But I really am trying to consolidate the number of players I have. And my recent trades kind of show this, that like, again, I don't really want to do this, but I got like, I have an Hayato Araki from Sanfrecce. I have a super rare of his, a classic season super rare. And I was like, oh, I'll just get a classic rare. And then I got a kind of a deal on an in-season one also, which I'm going to play with my Osako because there's that. And I don't know anything about the J League, but Harry and I are going to learn Japanese together so that we can really grind it. I was actually, I'm sorry to like go deep into my gallery here, but basically I had two plans that both got blown up with this Osako card, which for those of you who don't know, I got this in a reward box yesterday. So I was back to whoever, I'm sorry, I forget who it was, who was talking about their Racing collection, because I have been buying some Racing cards. And I was like, I wanted to get a Gabriel Arias, who's their goalkeeper. And I wanted an in-season to play in-season contender. And I own a Shusaku Nishikawa super rare. He plays for Urawa. And an Alexander Schultz super rare, also from Urawa. Classic season, if I didn't say that. And I was like, I'll just get a classic version of those two also. And so then I could run in super rare and rare. And then I won this Osako, which is an in-season contender goalkeeper and a J League one. And it's like, well, now do I want more J League? Do I even need more in season? And now I'm kind of in this weird spot. Like Osako's a card I would never buy. But now that I have it, it's like, oh, what am I going to do with it? And I went with Araki instead of Sho Sasaki, who might be dust. I'm not sure. I don't watch them at all. But yeah, I just had, so it's like one of those things. And this MMD card I have that I got MMD and Araki together. I have an MMD in season rare and was trying to get another one, and it's just hard to get one. And so I got an old one. But yeah, that's what I want. And if anybody's interested in any of my MLS super rares, I'm happy to talk. J League is tough for news, though. All my goalkeepers suck now. So yeah, part of the reason I don't get into the J League is I don't speak Japanese yet, and I know Matsuyama has a Patreon, which at this point I don't subscribe to it right now, but I probably should. But again, that's the do your own research, which isn't really like, are you doing your own research if you just go to a Patreon and have somebody else do the work for you? So I don't know. We'll see. What do you got here, Cooper? Do you not plan on playing any Champ Euro competitions next season? I thought you might have a few useful players from your Ren collection. So I'll play, but I'll play with what I have. I'm not looking to like actively add to my Champion Europe. I have one goalie, and it's Steve Mandanda, who like he's getting on. I don't think I have another one. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Unless Kaylor Navas ends up somewhere in Champion Europe. Major NFT, how can I even see J League games? They do 2 a week on YouTube, actually, which I don't watch. It's the middle of the night for me. Instant Zen, if you want to buy my MLS cards, like come get them. I'm not looking to like fire sale them. I'll happily just grind Cap 240 for the rest of the summer. But my MLS super rares are just not good enough for what I want to do, and I don't want to buy multiples, and so we'll see. Yeah. Losing, on the other hand, is considered failing, making us feel, oh yeah, that's back in the other. KB, it's so deeply indoctrinated in our culture and us individually. Winning is often expected and losing is catastrophic, resulting in a lot of accomplishments, barely resulting in any form of reaction. So it's funny you say that, because I talked to Gator Guy about this, and I used to talk to PSU about it, and we just don't anymore. But like I don't know how easily he brushes it off, but like when something goes wrong with like one of his lineups, a DNP or guy gets hurt, like Sean feels like personally offended. And Gator Guy was saying that he used to, like, the two of them, and there are a lot of people who like this, who like during the weekend will like check their lineups all the time and like really sweat them. And then if something goes bad, it makes them distraught. And for some reason on Sorare, that's just like never been the case with me. And it's not that I don't get upset. I was upset this week about Douglas Santos's injury and the Evian game not getting scored. And the way that, or because I didn't like lose an entry fee. Like there's always something about Sorare that it's like, hey, I could just run this lineup again next week. And with DFS, it was like, oh, there's my money literally on fire. And here, it's just a slow burn. And so, ZM Star said, Gator Guy is holding the picket line for the button. He knows nothing of losing. A born winner if we've ever seen one. Sometimes he runs good. He does not run good with boxes, though. I'll put him that way. He is anti-boxes. I don't know if he's up to 100 yet, but he has yet to get anything except a level up in a box. And it's wild. Kaiser Soze is the same way. Agent Cooper, I'm getting contender whale vibes from your gallery, Laird. It's just where I've decided to focus. That's all. I used to be very spread out, as spread out as you like could theoretically be, and I'm trying to consolidate. So yeah, if I'm going to be a contender whale, that's fine. I don't think I am, but what is Laird drinking? So it's a soda stream. It's like seltzer, and then there's a Mio like water flavor. I don't know what they're called. Some sugar-free thing. Basically tastes like Sunkissed. If anyone's familiar with those, that's what it tastes like. And it's like really hot where I am today. What is it? Currently 81 degrees Fahrenheit, which actually is not that hot, but in this room that I am in is very hot, and I can't open the window for a number of reasons. Gin and juice. So yeah, that's all it is. Instant Zen said, I'd rather pay $100 for limited cards and run it 30 times over the summer than, I assume that was, then play DFS, which yeah. I thought it was Crush in the soda. Yeah, same thing. It's basically Crush. Yeah. Crush like tangerine lemon or I don't know. Agent Cooper, I would argue that I can compete with Celtic also. Bring it on. Does Celtic even crush on the weekends? I feel like all of their crushing weeks were midweeks, but I don't really know. I have to go to the dentist shortly to really give you guys more information than you would ever need. So I only got a few minutes left. Marcus, will Sorare ever do a lineup builder for rivals? So I doubt it, because I don't see there ever being a point where people would pay for that, for like a lineup builder for rivals, as long as it stays like a free game. And I think we're better off using our resources elsewhere. ZM Star said rivals is a lineup builder in itself. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. If you're selling your MLS super rares, is the giant gill card behind you for sale? It is not. Or it is for the price of all of my MLS super rares JPEGs, and I'll give this to you also. If you buy all my MLS Super Rares for 10 ETH, then yeah, you can have that card too. Major NFT, why would you need a Rivals lineup builder? You get the DNP info. There's more in the lineup builder than that. Way more. But I guess those are the misunderstood opponent scores. Red or Dead, I think I've had 4 limited cards from about 60 boxes. Happy with that, given that others have opened many more boxes and gotten yeah. I want the mug and the shoe. So the shoe, ZMstar, have you heard the story of this shoe? I'm not going to tell the entire story, but it's autographed by Stefan Marbury. Yeah. 10 ETH is $40,000. Is it? Did we hit 4,000? I was just kidding. I would take 5 ETH. And it's only 3,700. $18,000. I meant more about spending Sorare data resources. Doesn't make sense. That's kind of what we think. Starberry, Nix, or China Starberry. I think he was. That's a great question. I don't think he was in China yet. Yeah, he signed that at a. There was a T-shirt store that existed where he sold these sneakers, the Starberries, called Davin. What was that called? Stephen Berries. Yeah, Stephen Berries. It was like a discount T-shirt clothing place, and they sold these sneakers for $20. And so I bought it in Knicks colors because I'm a Knicks fan, and he signed it. I actually got 2 of them, but and I gave one to my brother. The shoes are absolutely rock hard. I don't know why anybody would ever wear them. Oh, I actually have the receipt in the shoe. I didn't even know this. $14.98 for a pair of shoes. And then this ball I caught at Yankee Stadium. In the last year of the old Yankee Stadium. Anyway, Agent Cooper, when do you expect we'll see all the improvements and changes to Sorare data? Gradual process over the summer or a big update in August before the European season? Shaforkal Isles. Sorry for those listening. Shaforkal's comment was, I also buy 2 shoes. Agent Cooper, I think you'll see just, gradual stuff until the one big one that we're doing. It's not like redoing the entire site, but there are some pretty massive changes. And to be honest, I don't know if they'll be ready like at the start of the European season, but it's really, some of this stuff is really cool. And I'm hoping makes it a lot easier to use the site and a lot more understandable and just more fun because, that's why we're here. Major NFT. There was a big API change for Sorare MLB that we're still kind of working through. So that's why the MLB lineup, MLB scores are not the same. I'm sorry, I went last game at Shea and opening day at City back when I lived in New York. So I did that too, but Yankee Stadium. Last game at the old Yankee Stadium, and then I went to the first game at the new Yankee Stadium because I'm a Yankee fan. Major NFT. Unfortunately, MLB is kind of on the back burner for us right now, priority-wise, meaning the changes that we have to do are pretty significant, I think. Yes, especially when you're not told about them. What else we got? Maybe that's all we have. I will be back tomorrow, so don't worry. Harry and I will be back for the game week preview for this weekend, which is the first weekend for a lot of people without their Euro cards. And that's when they go to the lineup builder on today or tomorrow, and they're like, uh-oh, where did all my cards go? Everyone go enjoy the Europa final, Leverkusen against Atalanta. I really think, I think it would be fun if Leverkusen won it, finish the season undefeated. But, whatever. Thank you to everybody for coming. Sheesh. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with Harry for the game week preview, Sorare, Andrews, and then just again, nothing again until Tuesday, except maybe Harry on his channel on Monday. And yeah, we'll see. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you around.